Okay, we're chatting about your new film, Measures for a Funeral. You must have an incredible relationship with your leading actress. I noticed throughout the film that you kind of linger and she really delivers in powerful
Mhm.
close-ups again and again. So there must be an extraordinary back and forth. I'm wondering if you're filming these sequences, you let her kind of go on certain sequences. Is there an ability for
Mhm.
her to kind of find the character herself, or how is it, or is it organized very precisely?
I really trust her. There's an implicit trust in how she creates the character and how she enacts it and how she reacts. For us, it was really important to create as much of a real environment for her as possible. She's an actor that really likes to be present, but also really likes to be surprised as well, you know? So I think for her to react as naturally as possible, she's not an actor where you rehearse her over and over and over and over again. She really cares about the act and the gesture and the reaction and the feeling being as natural as possible, which I'm sure you led on to. But also, she had a lot of time to prep. So we sent her to Rome for a month before production, where she was memorizing her lines, thinking about the character. She watched a lot of the Lone Wolf and Cub series. A big inspiration, I guess, for her character was Lady Snowblood by Toshio Fujita. So I think a lot of those mannerisms and how she is in this kind of, I guess, warrior-like stance, vision, and aura that she has from the film comes from that prep when she was in Rome.
Being inspired by Lady Snowblood is actually really cool. Another filmmaker who was inspired by Lady Snowblood was actually Quentin Tarantino, who based his film Kill Bill directly on Lady Snowblood. In fact, both films contain very similar sequences and characters. In fact, Quentin actually loved the film so much that he would show his cast and crew on Kill Bill DVDs of Lady Snowblood while they were actually making the film.
So she had a lot of time and resources to really think about how she was going to craft that character, how she was going to bring it to life. And for me, I'm fascinated by everything and anything that she does. She's an incredible artist and really nourishes herself and her mind when she takes on a character and reads a lot of books and watches a lot of films, I guess, to inform how that character is going to be and exist and behave. And so, yeah, what you see on screen, I think, is an accumulation of those inspirations, those influences, but also just of hard work as well.
Do you ever resist practicing? Do you think you missed anything by giving your life to the violin?
Audrey Benak. I'm Misha.
Pleased to meet you.
Audrey.
Yeah,
How's your mother?
she's fine. I mean, she's not fine, but it's fine. Kathleen was a bit of a myth in my family. When I first visited the archive, I had this feeling of a presence that was already there. I could just feel so viscerally that these objects were from the past, but also that they were containers through which the past could be entered.
I want to touch base on the fact that it is, in fact, a real life event that you are
Mhm.
chronicling in this. When did
Mhm.
you first decide to take this on? Because this is quite an important part of Canadian music history.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I always grew up going to watch my grandfather play in the Toronto Symphony when I was a little girl. When I was about 9 years old, I remember him playing in Roy Thompson Hall. And I was always really impressed by the way that he played, how talented he was, but also that he was able to raise a family of four on a single violinist's salary. And he did some incredible things. He played on the soundtrack for Moonstruck, and he played on the song These Eyes by the Guess Who. So he wasn't like a violinist who was front and center, but his story always touched me, but also his talent and the way that he played and the way that he was able to touch people when he played. And that came from an incredible woman named Kathleen Parlow, who was his teacher when he was living in Toronto. So I always heard about like the legend of Kathleen, but I didn't really start really becoming fascinated with her until about 2016, when there was an incredible discovery made at the Edward Johnson Music Library in Toronto, where a wonderful man named Human Bizadi and his archivist team found this concerto named Opus 28. And it was published in the Toronto Star. There was a story about it. And my uncle Steve Benak, he sent me the article and said, Sophia, you really need to make something of this. This is interesting. So a couple months later, I went to the UT library and I was the first one actually to look at the Opus 28 manuscript. And Human very generously, eventually, when it happened, let me listen to a recording of the performance of Opus 28, which is actually done in Norway with the Malmo Symphony Orchestra. And he told me that for whatever reason, there weren't any orchestras interested in performing this piece of music in Canada at the time. And so that kind of became an obsession and a fascination and a goal and a dream of mine to have this thing performed.
We have Measures for a Funeral right now. What is coming up in the future for you, Sophia? What are you looking forward to doing as your next project? I'm very curious.
That's a great question. I am actually doing a residency in Madrid right now, in Spain. I'm studying at the Academy of Motion Pictures there. And I am studying a project about Goya's La Tirana. So La Tirana is another woman who's kind of forgotten, I guess, in the canon of history in Spain. She's around, but not a lot of people know about her. And she was a theater actress in the 18th century, and Goya painted her twice. So right now I'm spending a lot of time at the Bellas Artes in Madrid as well as at the Prado. And I'm kind of in the beginning stages as I was in about 2017 to put a project and a film about her. And I guess the timing of that is really good because it's going to be Goya's bicentenary in 2028. So I'll be there for the next 9 months putting that project together. And it's sad to kind of leave this chapter of measures behind, but also there's some really lovely things to look forward to.
Well, that sounds terrific. Sophia, I want to thank you very, very much for joining us here on Ultrasonic Film. I really do appreciate it. Again, Measures for a Funeral, definitely check it on out. Thank you again. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much, James. I'm really grateful for your time.